The tragedy of the women of Ahlul Bayt, their journey from Karbala to Kufa and from Kufa to Shaam. And it becomes very easy to forget the masa'ib of Sayyidah Zainab. And it becomes very easy for life to become normal again until the days of Arba'een come. My brothers and sisters, in order for us to ascend these ranks of spirituality and climb this ladder of ishq, we have to live this tragedy every day. And between now and Arba'een, it is as if you are walking with Sayyidah Zainab and you are a prisoner together with Sayyidah Zainab. And keep this in your mind throughout these 40 days. Do not abandon Sayyidah Zainab in her masa'ib. Even if it entails wearing a black shirt or black clothes to work, to make a stance in a very peaceful manner, that you as an individual are in a state of mourning. And you are in a state of mourning because you stand for everything great that humanity has to offer. And this is what Imam al-Hussein was sacrificed for. This is our stance against violence. We take a stance in regards to the fact that we despise and we shun violence against women. And these are things that are ma'qul. These are things that are accepted even by the person who doesn't have faith. Inshallah, I ask myself and I ask you, over these next 40 days that we remember Sayyidah Zainab and we live this tragedy with her. And we prepare as much as we can for these days of Arba'een. The tragedy of Shaam Ghariba. Shaam Ghariba, Shaam Ghariba. The night of darkness, the night of loneliness. Each and every one of you are tired and perhaps spent the night up mourning for Imam al-Hussein. And you have a home to look forward to except the women of Ahlul Bayt. The narrations mention that after Sayyid al-Shuhada was martyred and Shamar al-La'in carried out the most atrocious act in the existence, the historians mention that the enemy of Umar ibn Sa'ad began to plunder the body of Imam al-Hussein. They began to loot the possessions of Imam. Somebody came and stole the amama of Imam al-Hussein, his lifeless body on the plains of Karbala, covered in wounds. I saw in one of the Maqtal Alama Tushtari Rahmatullah alayhi says that there were 114 sword injuries on the body of Imam al-Hussein. Apart from all the other injuries from the spears, 114 just from the swords. The narrations mention that as the body of Imam al-Hussein lay lifeless on the plains of Karbala, one of the kuffar come and steal the amama of Imam al-Hussein. Another one steals the slippers on the feet of Imam al-Hussein. A third one comes and removes the abba of Imam al-Hussein. A fourth one came and removed the shirt of Imam al-Hussein. And then there was a kafir by the name of Bajdal. He says that when I reached the body of Imam al-Hussein, I felt sorry that there is nothing remaining for me to steal. Everyone had taken something from the body of Imam al-Hussein. He said, I walked around the body looking if there is anything that I can take from it. He says, on the right hand of Hussein, I saw that there was a ring of aqiq. He says, I got down on the body. I took the hand of Imam al-Hussein. I tried to remove the aqiq from the finger. He says, I tried to pull it once, it didn't come out. He says, I tried to pull it twice, it still didn't come out. Bajdal said, I really want this ring, but I can't remove it from the finger. Bajdal himself says, I took my dagger out of the sheath. I cut the finger of Imam al-Hussein to take the ring. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, the mutilated body of Imam al-Hussein. Umar ibn Sa'ad then called out for the horsemen and he said, O army of Allah, bring me 10 horses that will trample upon the body of Aba Abdullah. They came forward with 10 horses. Umar ibn Sa'ad said, change them. They said, why? He said, these are horses that have been running the whole day and perhaps there will not be enough strength in their legs. Bring me 10 horses that were not used in war today. So when they trample on the chest of Aba Abdullah, they can trample it to the most. The narrations mention that 10 horsemen standing from the east and the west of Karbala. Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra put her hand on her head and cried out, Wa Muhammadah. Umar ibn Sa'ad gave the signal. The body of Imam al-Hussein on the plains of Karbala, sometimes pushed towards the right, sometimes pushed towards the left. The horses are running with their One of the kuffar comes forward and says that we crushed the chest and the flesh of Hussein and we mixed the blood with the sands of Karbala. Allah! They plundered the body, they trampled the body of Imam al-Hussein. And then Shimr said, oh man, move your direction towards the tent of the kuffar. Light the tents of the disbelievers on fire. That enemy started marching, some of them on horses, starting to move towards the Khaymagah. All the women ran behind Sayyida Zainab. Sayyida Zainab behind Imam al-Sajjad. Imam al-Sajjad is weak, lying down on the ground. Allah, Allah, the narrations mention they lit the tents of the women on fire. When they lit them on fire, the women began to run in every direction. Every direction the women ran. Hamid ibn Muslim says, I watched them burn the tent and I began to cry when I saw the women and the children screaming, running in every direction, not knowing where to go and who to go to. He says, in this midst, as every woman was running, I saw one woman. She would run out of the tent. She would go back into the tent. She would run out from the tent and go back. I says, what would this woman be going back into a burning tent for? He says, I went a little bit closer. I saw Sayyida Zainab dragging out Zain al-Abidin. The poet says when he looks at this part of the Maqtal, one of the poets, he recited this Marthya for a Marjan Taqleed. He said, do not ask me how many burn marks were on the body of Zainab. The women began to run in every direction. They began to plunder the wealth of the woman. One of the enemies saw Sukaina running, so he threw a broken spear on her head. The manner in which he threw the spear, Sukaina fainted. She says, I opened my eyes and my head was on the laps of my auntie Sayyida Kulthum. Sakina alayha salam, 4-year-old daughter, not knowing where to run. Her feet were burning under the burning tents. She says that one of the enemies saw on my ears the earrings that my father had gifted me. He says this lion grabbed me and he pulled out the earrings, ripping open the earlobes of Sakina. Ya Zalim! This is a yatima. Ask her for the earrings she would have given you. Allah, Allah, Ya Shi'a ala Muhammad. This is the last part of the Maqtal. Allah. When the kuffar have burned brought down the tents and everything has been looted, Sayyida Zainab begins to collect all the women and the children together. They don't have anyone except Zainab. Zainab is now Hussein. Zainab is now Abbas. Zainab is the salar of this mawkim of Haq, mawkim Ilahi. Zainab gathers all the women. She gathers all the children. They begin to count them. She gathers them under one place. With a lot of difficulty, the children fall asleep. With a lot of difficulty, Sayyida Zainab controls the women and puts them at a little bit of ease. The children go to sleep under the open skies on the sands of Karbala. As everyone went to sleep, Zainab is staying awake to guard the women. It was only yesterday she was remembering Abbas who was guarding the tents. Allah, Ya Abbas, your lifeless body without two arms by the Furat, come and see Zainab has become the guardian. Allah, Sayyida Zainab watching over the women and the children. The much of the night has passed. The children with lot of difficulty have gone to sleep. And then she notices from one side the horseman with a niqab covering his face coming towards the Ahlul Bayt. Sayyida Zainab stands up. The horseman is approaching slowly but constantly towards Sayyida Zainab. Sayyida Zainab says to him, "Oh man, if you are coming to loot anything from us, everything has already been stolen." The man doesn't listen with the niqab. He continues to approach Sayyida Zainab. Sayyida Zainab says to him, "Oh man, with a lot of difficulty, these children have gone to sleep. If you wake them up, I don't know if they will sleep again." The man doesn't respond. He keeps coming closer towards Sayyida Zainab. He has a niqab on his face. Sayyida Zainab sees the man is not responding. She picks up a broken spear and she says, "Oh man, I am Zainab. I am the daughter of Ali. No, I'm warning you, do not come any closer." As soon as she said that, the man removes his niqab. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is Ali who has come to Karbala. He said, "Zainab, rest. Ali is here to guard you." Zainab says, "Oh Baba, did you see what they did to Abbas? Oh Baba, did you see what they did to her?"